Let me tell you something about Hargrove Memorial Hospital. It closed in 1989. The official reason was funding. The unofficial reason, the one the older people in our town whispered about over coffee and never said directly, was something that happened on the fourth floor. Something involving the psychiatric ward. Something that the county decided was easier to bury than explain. I grew up 2 miles from that building. I rode my bike past it 100 times. I always looked up at the fourth floor windows and I always felt the same thing. Not fear exactly, more like the feeling you get when you're standing at the edge of something very high. A pull, a wrongness. I was 19 when we went inside. There were 4 of us. Me, my best friend Danny, a girl named Kara, who Danny had been trying to impress for 3 months, and Kara's cousin Tyler, who none of us knew very well. Tyler had a truck, a flashlight, and the confidence of someone who had never been genuinely scared of anything in his life. We went on a Saturday night in October because of course we did. The fence around Hargrove Memorial had a section in the back that had been pulled away from its post. We weren't the first people to use it. We squeezed through one at a time and stood in the overgrown parking lot looking up at the building. It was 6 stories, red brick, gone dark with age and weather. Most of the windows on the lower floors were boarded up, but the upper floors were open, black rectangles against the sky. The main entrance had been welded shut with a steel plate. There was graffiti on the lower walls, names, dates, the usual, but it stopped abruptly about 8 feet up, as if whoever was spraying had thought better of going higher. "Fourth floor," Tyler said, because Tyler had done his research and had decided this was an adventure. "We don't have to go to the 4th floor," and I said. "That's literally the whole point," he said. Kara said nothing. She was looking up at the building with an expression I couldn't read. Danny found the side entrance, a loading dock door that had been pried open and never properly secured. It groaned when he pushed it, a long metallic sound that echoed into the darkness beyond. We went inside. The ground floor was a long corridor, the floor a checkerboard of cracked linoleum, the ceiling collapsed in several places. Our flashlights caught dust motes swirling in the air. There was a nurse's station to the left, the desk still there, a coffee mug still sitting on it like someone had just stepped away. There was no smell of decay, which surprised me, just dust and something underneath it. Antiseptic, maybe, or the memory of antiseptic. Something chemical and cold. We found the stairwell at the end of the corridor. The door was heavy and moved easily, which felt wrong, like it had been used recently. "First floor, second floor, third floor," Tyler said, sweeping his flashlight up the stairwell. "4th floor, easy." We climbed. The 2nd floor was patient rooms, beds still in some of them, stripped of linens, wheelchairs in the corridor, some overturned, some facing the wall. Kara grabbed Danny's arm at the wheelchairs. He didn't pull away. The 3rd floor was administrative, filing cabinets, offices, a break room with a table and 4 chairs still arranged around it like the meeting had just ended. Someone had left a patient file on one of the desks. I saw it as we passed, a manila folder open. I didn't stop to read it. I wish now that I had. I might have understood sooner. We reached the 4th floor door. Unlike the others, this one had a sign, old printed behind cracked plastic. Psychiatric unit. Authorized personnel only below it. Someone had written in marker, recently by the look of it. "Don't go in if you're alone. Don't go in after midnight. Don't answer if something asks you your name." Tyler read it and laughed. "Someone's been watching too many horror movies." He pushed the door open. The psychiatric ward was different from the floors below. The lower floors felt abandoned. Empty. The 4th floor felt like it was waiting. The corridor was narrower. The rooms on either side had small windows in the doors, the kind with wire mesh embedded in the glass. Some of the windows were intact. Some were broken, the edges jagged. The linoleum up here was darker, stained in ways I didn't examine closely. At the end of the corridor was a common room, chairs still arranged in a circle. A television mounted high on the wall, the screen cracked. A whiteboard with writing still on it, faded but legible. Today is Tuesday. Weather cloudy. How are we feeling today? Below it, in different handwriting, in what looked like it might have been crayon. She is still here. She is always here. She does not know she is here. "Okay," Kara said quietly. "I want to go." We just got here, Tyler said. I want to go, she said again, and her voice was different this time. Flat, like she was reading from a script. I looked at her. Her eyes were fixed on the far corner of the common room. I followed her gaze. The corner was empty. Kara, Danny said, what are you looking at? Nothing, she said, but she didn't look away from the corner. We should have left then. I know that. I have known that for 6 years, and I will probably know it for the rest of my life. We didn't leave because Tyler wanted to check the rooms, and because Danny didn't want to look scared in front of Kara, and because Kara had gone quiet in a way that made me want to stay close to her, rather than move through the dark stairwell alone. The rooms on the 4th floor were small, single beds bolted to the wall. In some of them, the restraint straps were still attached to the bed frames, hanging down like shed skin. In one room there was a child's drawing taped to the wall. A house, a tree, a sun, the universal symbols of normalcy. But the figures in front of the house were wrong. Too tall, too thin, arms that reached the ground. Tyler photographed everything on his phone. I was standing in the doorway of one of the rooms, shining my flashlight across the empty bed, when Danny grabbed my arm from behind and I nearly came out of my skin. Sorry, he whispered. Come here. He pulled me to the room across the corridor. He shone his light inside. On the far wall, someone had written, in something dark, something I refused to identify. A list of names, 20, maybe 30 names, floor to ceiling, in small, careful handwriting. All first names, all women's names by the look of them. At the bottom of the list, added in a different handwriting more recently, if you are reading this, you should leave now. She collects names. That is all she does. That is all she has done since 1987. Do not say your name aloud. Do not say anyone else's name aloud. She is listening. We're leaving, I said. Finally, Kara said. She hadn't moved from the corridor. She was still facing the common room. Tyler, Danny called. We're going. Tyler emerged from one of the rooms at the far end. 5 more minutes. Now, I said. Something in my voice made him stop arguing. We moved back toward the stairwell door. Tyler first, then Danny, then me. I was last through the door and I held it for Kara. She didn't follow. Kara! I looked back at her. She was standing in the middle of the corridor, facing away from me, toward the common room. Kara, come on! She turned around slowly. Her face was wrong. I don't know how else to describe it. It was her face. Same features, same eyes. But the expression on it was not an expression I had ever seen on a human face before. Not fear, not blankness. Something older than either of those things. Something that did not belong on a 19-year-old girl standing in an abandoned hospital corridor. What's your name? She said. Her voice was wrong too, layered somehow, like 2 voices occupying the same frequency. Kara, Danny said from behind me, pushing past. Stop messing around. What is your name? She said again. Not to Danny, to me. I remembered the writing on the wall. Do not say your name aloud. Let's go, I said. I didn't say my name. I walked toward her, took her arm, and walked her to the stairwell door. She came without resistance, which was almost worse than if she'd fought me. Passive, like whatever was moving her limbs was unfamiliar with how they worked. We got down the stairs. We got through the loading dock. We got through the fence. In the parking lot under the open sky, Kara blinked. Once, twice. Her face rearranged itself into something recognizable. Can we go? She said. Normal voice. Her voice. Yeah, Tyler said. He was already moving toward his truck. Yeah, let's go. We didn't talk about it on the drive home. Tyler dropped me off first, then Danny, then Kara. I watched the truck disappear around the corner, and I stood in my driveway for a long time before going inside. I told myself it was adrenaline. Kara had spooked herself, gone glassy-eyed, done the thing people do when they're overwhelmed and their brain half checks out. The writing on the wall was graffiti, left by someone who'd seen the same horror movies Tyler had mentioned. I told myself all of this in the dark of my room, and I almost believed it. 3 days later, Danny called me. Have you talked to Kara? He said. No, why? A pause. She doesn't remember the 4th floor. What do you mean? She remembers going in. She remembers the first and second floors. She doesn't remember going up to 4. She says the last thing she remembers is the wheelchair on the second floor, and then she was outside in the parking lot. I was quiet for a moment. That's a long blank. Yeah. Is she okay? She says she's fine, but she keeps asking people their names. I felt something cold move through me. What? Like she'll be in the middle of a conversation and she'll just stop and ask what your name is. Even people she's known for years. Her mom called me yesterday because Kara asked her own mom, what her name was, 3 times, in a row, like she didn't retain the answer. I didn't say anything. She also... Danny stopped. What? She went back, he said. Last night, alone. Her mom found her gone at 2 a.m. and then she just came home at sunrise. She doesn't remember going. I want to be very clear about what happened next because I know how it sounds. I went back to Hargrove Memorial in the daytime, alone. I went back because I needed to understand what had happened to Kara and because some part of me believed, without evidence, on pure instinct, that the answer was in that building. I went up to the 4th floor. I went to the common room. In the daylight, it was just a room, dusty chairs, broken television, whiteboard. But the list of names on the wall of the room across the corridor, the list that had gone floor to ceiling, 30 names, was different now. It was longer. 3 names had been added at the bottom, below the warning about leaving. The first name I didn't recognize. The second name was Kara. The third name was mine. I have thought about this for 6 years. I have turned it over in my mind more times than I can count. I have read everything I could find about Hargrove Memorial, about the psychiatric ward, about what happened there in 1987, the year the writing on the wall mentioned. What I found, a patient named Margaret Holt was admitted to the 4th floor psychiatric unit in March of 1987. She was 34 years old. The admission notes described her condition as severe dissociative disorder with delusional ideation. The notes described her primary delusion as a belief that she could collect people by learning their names, that knowing a name gave her something, that the more names she had, the more she persisted. She died on the 4th floor in September of 1987. The cause of death was listed as cardiac arrest. The hospital closed 2 years later. Kara got better, mostly. The blank period stopped after a few weeks. The name asking faded. She moved to another city the following year and we lost touch the way you do. But I think about the list. I think about my name at the bottom of it. I think about the fact that whatever was in that building knew my name, even though I never said it aloud. And I think about the times, late at night, in the quiet, when I feel something I can't explain, a presence at the edge of things, an attention directed at me from somewhere I can't see, like something is keeping track, like something collected me that night in the corridor of the 4th floor and has been quietly holding on ever since. I don't know what that means. I don't know what happens when she has enough names. I don't know what she's building toward, but I know this. If you ever find yourself somewhere old and abandoned and wrong, and someone or something asks you your name, don't answer. It doesn't matter how human the voice sounds. It doesn't matter if the voice sounds like someone you know. It doesn't matter if it sounds like your own voice coming back to you from the dark. Don't answer. Some things collect names the way other things collect debts, and sooner or later, they come to collect. Margaret Holt. Ward 4, Hargrove Memorial Hospital, 1987. She is still there. She is always there. She does not know she is there, but she knows your name now. She's always known your name.